Wisconsin on the road, night game, then Penn State, night game on the road. They're playing home for Michigan, and then they have to come here. How tough is that? I mean, how much of an advantage is it for the home team when you have that kind of situation?
I think, to kind of maybe divert from your question particularly, I think last year the situation that got set up was Wisconsin got us off a bye, Penn State got us off a bye.
Right.
I think, as Penn State goes into, has game day here, big atmosphere for them over there at Beaver Stadium, and then they play the team up north, and then coming here to play us off a bye week too, I think it's a huge advantage for us. Obviously, get guys rested up, get guys relaxed, and get an extra week of extra preparation.
Right.
I've already watched 4 games of theirs. I've already looking at what we're doing offensively, to scheme them up and how to put some of their guys in space to exploit some of their players. And so I think it's a big matchup for us. And again, it's a huge advantage for us just having coming off a bye week.
How exhausted were you after the Penn State game, just having that grind of back-to-back like that?
It is. It's tough, but I mean, it's part of you don't get many opportunities to go down a stretch like that. It's a huge opportunity. It's able to week after week play on a big stage. I mean, we're Wisconsin, I believe, was on ABC. Penn State was on ESPN or ABC, one of those two. So you get those huge moments to be able to showcase your skills on national television, on night games, back-to-back weeks. So it's a huge honor. It's a huge compliment to us as a program itself. We're just looking for, again, another challenge next week for us.
How's the bye week been so far?
It's been fun. I mean, again, you get to sleep a little bit. You get to actually relax a little bit. I should say relax because, again, we're full metal jacket, making sure that we are prepared, for Penn State. I know that the story headlines are going to be, we've had this circled up there for, X amount of time, just the same as it was for Oklahoma this year when we, played them last year and beat them. But again, it's just making sure our preparation is key, making sure that we go into a game plan, being 100% confident, know our assignments, what we're going to do and how we're going to attack them, and just being confident and going in and playing fast.
I take it you're going to be watching their game this weekend?
Absolutely. So actually, I got a bonfire on Saturday with my family, but it will definitely be I'll be watching all that.
Billy, you said you watched 4 games of Penn State film already. How much do you typically get to watch if you just had a normal week to prepare for something?
Usually, Mondays are kind of my day. Since I'm a graduate, I've already graduated. My class was a lot easier this semester, so taking online courses, so I'm able to kind of knock the week's workout on Monday, and then get at least a game and a half, if not 2 games done on Monday, and then be able to kind of continue to watch film, watch what they're doing, third down blitzes, making sure that the preparation going in there, understanding and being able to identify looks is 100% making sure for me to feel confident going into the game plan.
Billy, when after the game last week, when you saw the upsets of ranked teams against non-ranked teams, any team now in college football, there's such great parity there that there's anybody can lose at any time. How do you tell the guys or keep everybody up to say, look what happened last week, look what happened to this team? Look, how do you prepare for that in an off week?
So I think the biggest thing, one, is to make sure you don't take anybody lightly. First off, going into a week, and that's not to say that Clemson or Washington State or whoever the third Washington took a team lightly, and that's to make sure, again, my job as a center, as the 5th-year senior, as a captain of this team, of this offense as well, is to make sure that we're continuing to play fast, don't take the throttle off anybody. We were particularly, in a case like last week with Nebraska came back on Oregon, and to make sure that, again, we have a team, the team can build momentum, and again, you still got, in a game of 60 minutes, you still got another 30 minutes to go play ball. So I think that's probably the biggest thing, and especially going into a bye week, still making sure that you're crisp, still making sure that you have confidence in the game plan, your fundamentals, and to sharpen up on some of the fundamental technique aspects that offensive line play kind of gets away from during the season. So that's what this bye week's been really going into. Again, not taking anybody anybody lightly, and to continue to have that preparation to make sure that the intensity and the attention to detail is still there.
Demetrius Knox graded out as a champion for his first start. I mean, just what do you expect from him going forward, and just speak a little bit about his game, if you would.
So I think the biggest thing with Meach is obviously continuing to build confidence. I know that's kind of a recurring theme here, but offensive line play is confidence. To shed light on myself, in 2014, I was not confident going to my first 2, 3, 4 games. I got around a guy named Taylor Decker and Jacoby who helped build confidence in myself and build confidence in my play and the things that I was able to do, and that helps develop people. So I think that with Demetrius, making sure that he understands the playbook, make sure he understands, you know, the looks and some of the film things that, you know, Jamarco and I, or Isaiah and I, or Michael, you know, some of the guys that, you know, we're playing with are able to recognize and, you know exactly what we're supposed to do. So with Demetrius, just continuing to going into next week, make sure you're still playing at that high level, make sure his preparation and the habits that he goes into a game week are at an all-time high attention to detail.
Would you say that you're going to a bonfire?
Yeah.
What goes on at a bonfire?
Well, kind of sit around a fire and you kind of just talk to your family. I haven't seen my family in, what is it,
Bonding.
7 weeks plus 3 weeks, and so about 10 weeks I get to go actually see my family.
Eat, drink, and be merry. Ari.
So it's a bonfire.
Bonfire.
No, Bon.
Oh, I
B-O-N,
put
yeah.
bonfire.
Oh, I like that. Bonfire. Yeah.
Well, my birthday was last weekend, so it was my brother's on Sunday, so I get to actually spend some time with
Okay,
him.
cool. Yeah, I've never been to a bonfire.
23 now.
Oh yeah, you're getting real.
I know, I'm getting
Yeah,
so old.
So do they have TVs around the bonfire ever?
No, it's going to be wedge and pizza, some White House donuts, and a lot of other fattening things.
But what about the game, man?
The game, well, that's what you got ESPN out for. Shout out to ESPN.
They don't need a shout out.
Just everybody see that LeBron
Fledgling
James
network.
The paid Pandora account?
Yeah, that's funny.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. So, anybody see that injury last night? My boy
Yeah.
Vince sent it to me. I was like, oh boy.
He's out.
Yeah, he's not doing so good. But
You look at it once and then look away.
Yeah, that's all I needed.
Hey, Billy, how much did you see? What did you see change in Demetrius Meach, whatever you want to call him, starting right guard now? What did you see change in him like last week, and even through the games? What did you notice about him that gives you encouragement?
I think his comfort level. I think also you have to get used to playing around people, and I think that's probably the bigger thing. You know, as a guard, you know, and he was in that position, you know, at the beginning of the season to win that spot, and guys are floating in and out. You get used to playing with a certain center. You get used to playing with a certain right tackle. You get so forth and so on. So I think the big thing with him is, you know, I told him, I said, you know, because as soon as my head came up, I snapped the ball, and I was seen on TV, and it's like, okay, as soon as that head comes up, you got to go. Like, we're rolling. So he was being able to be more comfortable with me and the things that I know I'm good at and I know that I can do, and, you know, the things, and help him out and, you know, continue that communication. So I think we got into maybe late first. You know, there wasn't any issues or anything going on. He was very attentive, very detail-oriented to make sure that, you know, hey, we got to block this guy, or we got to make sure we get to this guy. So just seeing him continue to develop, and, you know, very, very proud of him. Just going into the next week.
Yeah, and you told me last week when I asked you that question about whether you were worried about, you know, a new starter at that spot, that the tempo you guys were playing at and stuff like that could kind of smooth it over to a certain extent. I mean, do you feel like he got into the flow pretty well?
Yeah, and I think because I mean, you saw us get Nebraska offside on the one, or too many people on the field on the one. I think, you know, that's, again, my job as a senior captain is to make sure that, okay, hey, just get on the ball, I'll tell you the play, let's rock and roll. So there's a couple times, you know, hey, what's the play? Hey, da-da-da-da, let's roll. So I know he was getting more comfortable with us, building a lot of trust with us, myself and Isaiah particularly. So we're going to be okay going into next week.
What's the benefit of this off week? I mean, just did it come at a good time for you guys? I mean, obviously it comes when it comes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, I was telling Lori, I think it was the right opportunity, the right time for us. You know, going 7 weeks in a season, and then you're starting to get into the grind of the Big Ten season. You know, we got Iowa, we got Michigan State, team up north, Illinois, Penn State. You know, those teams are very highly respected teams, top 5 defenses across the board. And so going into those type of weeks and getting that kind of rest and getting that, you know, the extra fundamental work that some of us are being able to polish up on, I think it's really going to help us going down the stretch.
Billy, I think at the beginning of the year, or after the Oklahoma game, you got a lot of questions, and JT got a lot of questions about if he was the right starting quarterback on this team and all that stuff. Have you seen, in watching film of the offense and, you know, kind of the numbers and stuff that he's put up the last few weeks, have you seen a different person, a different player? I mean, has there actually been the transformation that we kind of think or see in terms of that, or is it just you guys played teams that can't match up athletically?
No, I know it's definitely not, you know, teams that can't match up athletically. I think in the Big Ten, especially, you know, we start talking about recruiting in the SEC versus Big Ten, ACC versus Big Ten. You know, athletes are athletes all the way across the board. So I think that one is definitely out. And 2, I think that's the fun part about knowing JT behind the scenes that you guys don't get to see. That man has not changed. That man, you know, and we have a complete confidence. That's what I told everybody. We have complete confidence going into every game plan with him being behind me. It's making sure that I think the offense is continuing to grow, continuing to develop in different dimensions, and you start seeing wide receivers start running wide open underneath. So those mesh routes underneath and making sure dumping the ball off shorter distances, and then you see a post route that goes to Terry McLaurin for, you know, 30-some yards. So you start seeing that, and I think the other thing with JT is against Nebraska, it was like 20-mile-an-hour winds, and he threw a dime. And that's something, again, most people don't really get to see that. So, I mean, to speak numbers to a quarterback of who he is, the kid has not changed a thing. You know, again, preparation, you know, the nose to the ground and making sure that everything is attention to detail, making sure that this offense continues to grow and develop. That's exactly who he is. So I think, again, our offense has grown. The coaching staff's been more comfortable with each other. You know, the scheme in which we're attacking people has been, you know, great and fantastic. Those guys are putting us in a position to dominate, and we're playing fast, and we're seeing a lot of good things happen from it.
Billy, stupid question, but I'm going to ask it. Have you guys had this game circled on your schedule since the beginning of the year, and is honestly
Headline.
revenge on your
Headline right here first.
Right there, baby.
We're coming. No, I'm playing. No, I think it's an opportunity again. You know, you always reflect, especially as you go into the next year, reflect on the things that you did good last year and the things you did bad last year. And we always say football is a game of one play. I mean, again, one play could change a season, one play could, you know, destroy a season, create a season, you know, get that spark. In 2014, you start seeing guys take off. You know, 2015 again, 2016 had a hiccup. Again, it's a hiccup. It is what it is, and the play kind of defined our season itself to where we know we could have been, where we should have been. We just didn't get the job done. So I think that this is an opportunity for us to make sure that we have a lot of attention to detail, making sure that we take care of our assignments. It's a good opportunity. It's a great opportunity. I think they're right now ranked number 2 in the nation. And again, a lot of respect for the Big Ten, and I know those guys are going to bring it next week. So.
Thanks, Billy.
Thank you, Billy.